Do you hate anyone more than you hate Donald Trump?
No.
Why do you hate him so much?
Well, he's a liar and a fraud and a fake. And if you grew up in New York, you knew that. You know, he never could get on the Forbes richest men in the world list because they couldn't quantify his income because he's such a liar.
On Sunday, you know, he sat up in bed and posted, the NFL has to get rid of that ridiculous-looking new kickoff rule. How can they make such a big and sweeping change so easily and quickly? It's at least as dangerous as the normal kickoff and looks like hell. Sissy football is bad for America and bad for the NFL.
December 20th, 2006. That's when it all started. Rosie O'Donnell is sitting on The View, and Trump just held this ridiculous press conference about Miss USA Tara Conner. She'd been caught drinking underage and allegedly using cocaine. Trump owned the pageant at the time, and instead of firing her, he gives this whole moral authority speech about giving her a second chance. And Rosie, she wasn't having any of it. He annoys me on a multitude of levels, Rosie said. He's the moral authority, left the first wife, had an affair, left the second wife, had an affair, had kids both times. But he's the moral compass for 20-year-olds in America? Donald, sit and spin, my friend.
Probably I'll sue her. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pockets.
Or what she thinks of him.
He is a cruel, criminal, mentally unstable man.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Now, instead of the Chinese government harvesting our thoughts, interests, and personal information, Trump's buddy will have them instead. At least it's somebody we can trust, though, right?
Drop a comment if you remember watching this live because this moment changed everything. Then Rosie did something brilliant. She pulled her hair across her forehead to mock Trump's ridiculous comb-over, called him a snake oil salesman on Little House on the Prairie, said he's not a self-made man, but just someone who inherited daddy's money. The audience went insane. Trump? He lost his mind. Within hours, Trump's on the phone with People magazine. Rosie will rue the words she said. I'll most likely sue her for making those false statements, and it'll be fun. Rosie's a loser, a real loser. I look forward to taking lots of money from my nice fat little Rosie.
Left the first wife, had an affair, left the second wife, had an affair, had kids both times, but he's the moral compass for 20-year-olds in America.
We've had a hell of a couple of weeks, but I did get some exciting news this weekend. According to a new poll from YouGov, which is a serious polling site, or they were before this, I am more popular than the President of the United States. Thank you. Oh, thanks.
Notice how he immediately went after her appearance? That's his playbook. You criticize his character, he attacks how you look. But here's where it gets really dark. Trump didn't just respond and move on. He spent the next 20 years attacking Rosie. In 2007, he's giving speeches at real estate conferences saying, I called her a pig. I didn't say she was fat because that's politically incorrect, but come to think of it, is she fat? Then he actually bragged, I hit that big pig face. This is a grown man, a supposed billionaire, standing at a podium obsessing over a comedian who criticized him once.
We have willful blindness in the country. We have people who are unwilling, unable to see him for who he is. And it might be too late to save the nation from him. It's hard for me to believe that this uneducated, racist buffoon is the President of the United States. And when I talked about him and his misogynistic ways with his Miss Teen Universe contestant, he was a nobody joke on a reality show. And he became the most powerful man in the world. Who would write that in a movie that was believable?
What I said was this.
I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent. George Slopanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again. Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that on Tuesday. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time?
If you think that's unhinged, wait until you hear what happened next. Hit that like button because this gets worse. Fast forward to August 7th, 2015. The first Republican primary debate. Moderator Megyn Kelly asks Trump about his history of calling women fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Trump doesn't even let her finish. He interrupts with 2 words, only Rosie O'Donnell. The crowd erupts in laughter. Except it wasn't just Rosie. He'd said these things about tons of women, but Trump knew exactly what he was doing. Throwing out Rosie's name got him a standing ovation from his base.
First Lady Melania Trump is now caught in the middle of the never-ending feud between the president and Rosie O'Donnell. It started after Melania presented the International Women of Courage Awards in Washington, and then tweeted, "I urge you not to be afraid to fail, as failure will never have the power to define you, as long as you learn from it." Rosie fired back with this cheeky tweet, "Which is why you need to divorce him. Take your son and parents and flee."
Considering the fact that I'm not a convicted felon friend of Jeffrey Epstein, and I've never paid off a porn star or sent a team of masked goons into a park to pull an old lady away from her grandchildren, I feel like my rating should be higher, maybe, than... At this point, finding a toenail in your salad has a 7-point lead over Donald Trump. And I hope he doesn't see this. I hate to, I don't like to upset him, but I think he might be upset because the White House put out a statement this afternoon. This is a real statement. Over 77 million Americans showed up on Election Day to cast their ballots for President Donald J. Trump, who is delivering on his overwhelming mandate to put America first. Jimmy Kimmel prays every night to garner a fraction of that support to keep his show on air after ratings dropped 64% last week. Sad. I like sad with an exclamation point.
Rosie told People magazine in 2014 that Trump's attacks were the worst bullying I ever experienced in my life, including as a child. It was national and it was sanctioned societally. Think about that. She's been famous for decades, dealt with tons of criticism, but nothing compared to what Trump put her through. And it was sanctioned, meaning society just let it happen, laughed at it even. Now here's where Jimmy Kimmel enters the story.
And then Mark Burnett gives him this whole entire show and sold it as truth when it was fiction. And America believed it.
Donald Trump famously has lots of nicknames for people. I mean, he calls, Kim Jong-un the Rocket Man, for example. He fancies himself as a chance for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Which is delusional and probably frontal temporal lobe dementia.
What nickname would you give him?
Delusional Don.
I thought it might be something more imaginative than that.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's so many that people have done that are so good. Listen, I don't really go for trying to nickname someone. I try to shame him for who he is and what he is with facts. And that's what makes him so crazy. He's been threatening for 20 years to sue me. You can't sue someone who tells the truth about you.
You know what else is sad? That the President of the United States has a lower approval rating than Diddy and diarrhea. That's what's sad. If he's looking, I know he cares very deeply about this sort of thing. If he's looking to improve his approval numbers, I have an idea. Release the Epstein files.
March 2025. Trump just had a meeting with the Irish Prime Minister, and some MAGA reporter asks, "Ireland is known for happy people. Why would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? She's going to lower your happiness level." Trump responds, "That's true. Just casual cruelty about someone who fled the country because of him. Comment below if you think this is the behavior of a normal president, because I need to know what planet you're living on." Kimmel plays the clip on his show and says, This feud with Rosie's been going longer than me and Matt Damon now.
If you're 55 and you grew up on Long Island, you know that he's a fake, a phony, and a fraud.
Rosie's a failure. She's always been a failure.
I think he's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States.
Rosie's a mess. She left our country, which is a good thing, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever think the President of the United States would be celebrating your unemployment?
I mean, that son of a bitch, you know, is really unbelievable.
Mr. Son of a bitch.
I mean,
Mr. Son of a bitch.
His royal. Yes, yeah, no, I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't ever have another president like this again. I mean, I never even imagined there would ever be a situation in which the president of our country was celebrating hundreds of Americans losing their jobs. But somebody who took pleasure in that. That, to me, is the absolute opposite of what a leader of this country is supposed to be.
For context, Kimmel's had a fake feud with Matt Damon for over 20 years as a running gag on his show. He's pointing out that Trump's real obsession with Rosie has lasted longer than Kimmel's intentional comedy bit. Then Kimmel adds, "What a great question. This is the kind of energy you bring when your girlfriend keeps beating you at arm wrestling at home." But Kimmel didn't stop there. He said if they're allowing stupid questions at the White House, he wants to ask one. "Mr. President, I'm with ABC. When you're on the toilet, do you ever look down and cry?" Brutal.
Well, he is a cruel, criminal, and mentally unstable man. And Duty to Warn was a book that came out when he was first in office. Psychiatrists across the country who don't ever really diagnose people that they don't serve personally came together and made a book, Duty to Warn, to tell the world what a narcissistic, mentally ill person he is. And I think he's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States, and his cruelty knows no bounds. And when he is upset and humiliated and embarrassed, he has no control and he goes apeshit.
The vast majority say they want to see the Epstein files. 77% of Americans want the Epstein files released, but 100% of our American president does not want them released. Trump's treating these Epstein files like the grumpy old neighbor on Halloween. He turns off all the lights and just hopes the trick-or-treaters will assume there's nobody home. He's like, do you people not understand what a wonderful secret means?
This is March 2025. Kimmel's mocking Trump for still being obsessed with Rosie 19 years after that View appearance. Then July 12th, 2025 happens, and things get legitimately scary. Trump posts on Truth Social, "Because of the fact that Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interests of our great country, I am giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship. She is a threat to humanity and should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland if they want her. God bless America." Let that sink in. The President of the United States threatened to revoke an American citizen's citizenship because she criticized him on a talk show 2 decades ago.
Things are getting crazy over there in the US of A. I mean, they've been crazy for months now, right? At least 100 days. If he admits one more time that the election was rigged, I mean, why is he allowed to admit this over and over again and no one does anything about it? It's very obvious that it was, and he keeps saying it because he has like some form of dementia or something that he can't help but tell on himself for what he's done, as he has always, or he puts it on someone else exactly what he has done. But it's very, very overwhelming, and I can't even begin to talk about the ICE raids and who the hell are these ICE people, and their names are going to come out, and boy, if they could see themselves the way the rest of Americans see them.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom at the White House, right? They don't have a ballroom. They have to use tents on the lawn for President Xi when he comes over. If it rains, it's a wipeout. And so I was with the architects that would design. It's going to be incredible.
Like that. And why are we building a $200 million ballroom in the White House? Is it possible that he's doing it intentionally so we could be bad about that instead of the Epstein list? By the time he's out of office?
constitutional law experts immediately came out saying this is impossible. The 14th Amendment doesn't have a clause that says, unless they annoy the president. But Trump doesn't care about the Constitution. He cares about revenge. Smash that subscribe button if you think threatening to revoke citizenship over criticism is dictator behavior. Rosie's response? Perfect. She posted on Instagram with a photo of Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. The president of the USA has always hated the fact that I see him for who he is.
Trump's going after you, and I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? I mean, I wake up and there are these tweets and stuff.
I know. I was woken up too by a friend of mine in LA who follows it closely. And he's like, he did it again. I'm like, wait a minute. It's the middle of the night. What's happening? But,
what's wrong with this guy?
I got to say, it's the Epstein files. It's the testifying of the survivors that he tried to cover up with the planes, with a flyover. It's unbelievable how obvious he is about everything that he does. And could you say I'm guilty without saying I'm guilty more than having a flyover during their press conference as if he's going to hold the tide? The time is up and he knows it. And he's like a cornered rat and he doesn't know where to go or what to do.
So Disney put Kimmel back on because you, the American people, were upset, okay? But not just people, also Ted Cruz. It's true. Cruz was one of the conservatives who were outraged by the administration's attack on free speech.
He threatens explicitly, we're going to cancel ABC's license. We're going to take him off the air so ABC cannot broadcast anymore. He threatens it. He says, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah.
And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Wow, I got to say, I am shocked that I agree with Ted Cruz on something.
A criminal con man, sexual abusing liar, out to harm our nation to serve himself. This is why I moved to Ireland. He is a dangerous old soulless man with dementia who lacks empathy, compassion, and basic humanity. She'd moved to Ireland on January 15th, 2025, just 5 days before Trump's second inauguration. Took her 12-year-old daughter, Clay, and her service dog, Kuma, said in a TikTok video, when it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back.
Rosie O'Donnell, who's had a very, very long feud with Donald Trump, recently tweeted about how Barron Trump, the 10-year-old son of Donald Trump, might possibly suffer from autism. Now, she did so in a tweet where she wrote, Barron Trump autistic? If so, what an amazing opportunity to bring attention to the autism epidemic. Now, I should state that she has a 3-year-old who was diagnosed with high-functioning autism.
He calls him Puff Daddy. That's relevant. The notorious PIG is busy with all manner of distractions right now. He rallied the troops in Norfolk over the weekend at an event to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the Navy. He treated the crowd to his signature dance and to his still inexplicable theme song.
She literally fled her own country because of Trump. And here's the kicker. Kimmel's following the same path. August 11th, 2025, he reveals on Sarah Silverman's podcast that he's obtained Italian citizenship, called Trump's administration as bad as you thought it was going to be. It's so much worse. It's just unbelievable. Both Rosie and Kimmel are preparing exit strategies because of one man's authoritarian tendencies. But the real alliance moment came September 17th, 2025. ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely after Trump's FCC chairman Brendan Carr threatened to pull broadcast licenses. Why? Kimmel made comments about the Charlie Kirk assassination. Nexstar and Sinclair, two huge station groups, immediately caved and pulled Kimmel's show.
Well, if you talk to any Americans, they're all in shock, or at least the ones that I know. I will have to say I don't really have many people in my life that support him. I don't really understand how people could support a convicted felon and a man who has had so many charges against him and has the moral compass of a teenage boy. And it's heartbreaking, I think, to most of the people in America, and they're slowly waking. They're slowly waking to realize the cuts that he's making are not only going to affect the left-wing liberals that are woke, that they are afraid of and despise. When, as Jane Fonda said recently, being woke means you care about other people. And that's really all that it means.
Dancing Donald wasn't the only Trump on hand to fire the sailors up.
Hoo-yah, Navy! Hoo-yah, Navy! Hoo-yah, Navy!
Hoo-yah means help me in Slovenian. The president landed in a chopper to the tune of Danger Zone from Top Gun.
Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for the next expose. Trump wanted to silence them. Instead, he created two of his most effective enemies, Rosie, now broadcasting from Ireland, and Kimmel, armed with Italian citizenship, both ready to continue the fight. Because here's the thing Trump never understood. You can't kill comedy. You can't silence truth. And you definitely can't win a 20-year war against people who make a living exposing exactly who you are.